was around the time I visited Te Papa, New Zealand's museum in Wellington at the beginning of the year. I had an idea of starting a YouTube channel dealing specifically in interesting things from New Zealand. And one of those was something that had intrigued me for decades since I first read about it. The artefact you are now looking at. An iron helmet that is roughly 19 centimetres across and 29 centimetres high. It is popularly called the Spanish helmet because it resembles one worn by the conquistadors. It was first catalogued by the museum between 1904 and 1905 with the tag "Found in Wellington Harbour." Who presented it and its history prior to this point are unknown. What makes this helmet one of New Zealand's most intriguing discoveries is its age. The helmet is dated to around 1580. One quick look at this postage stamp and you'll see the significance. Abel Tasman was a Dutch sailor under the commission of the Dutch East India Company who first sighted New Zealand on the 13th of December 1642. He and his two vessels had put anchor in Wainui near Takaka at the top of the South Island on the 18th. After a skirmish with the locals, he headed north up the east coast. Tasman believed where he was in South America, and the strait between the North and South Islands to be a bay of some kind. Neither Tasman or his crew set ashore and departed New Zealand on January the 4th, 1643. Here we have an iron helmet that predates Tasman by approximately 60 years, said to be at the bottom of Wellington Harbour for over 3 centuries. What are the theories thrown in about its origins? Before I get to these, let it be known that as soon as we move away from the known facts, we get into the realm of supposition and speculation. To my mind, there are, however, only so many rabbit holes we can go down. These will all be given an airing here. Cortez's troops were conquering the Aztecs in 1520-odd, and Pizarro the same with the Incas in Peru 10 years later. Wearing similar morion helmets. The Portuguese also had a similar helmet. As did the northern Italians. Little wonder it was dubbed the Spanish helmet. In the 1500s, the Spanish and Portuguese thought they owned all the oceans on the planet. They drew up a map called the Mare Clausum, which translates as closed sea, bestowing themselves exclusive rights to these oceans. The Portuguese were in Japan in 1543, but it's way more likely the Spanish would be in this neck of the woods per the agreed treaty. Only there's not a shred of evidence of any Spanish explorer getting anywhere near New Zealand at this time. The closest I could find was the Solomon Islands. A more simplistic answer is it ended up in New Zealand from Europe shortly before somehow being dropped off a boat into Wellington Harbour and being discovered shortly afterwards, which would account, of course, why it's in such good condition. The points here: could it have come from someone who imported it from overseas as a memento? Definitely. Then it somehow was worn by someone on a 19th century version of a fancy dress cruise around Wellington Harbour and was dropped over the side when the wearer got pissed. This stretches credibility to breaking in my books. Another explanation for its existence is that it was given as a gift by an unnamed explorer to an unnamed Maori leader. Why stop at a helmet? Where are all the other Spanish trinkets? It simply dropped off the side of a waka? Or perhaps Captain Cook had been on a family trip in Ibiza shortly before exploring the globe. Give me a break. Let's throw something into the mix here when it comes to the helmet having arrived into New Zealand in someone's trunk in the mid-1800s. Let's take the bit about it being found in Wellington Harbour as being anecdotal. What say it was gifted to you by an uncle you hardly knew, and like a 660 album or an Ed Sheeran t-shirt, you wanted it gone. You pass it on like an unwanted Christmas gift to the museum with the family story it was somehow found at the bottom of Wellington Harbour. It's plain to see it's certainly not as corroded as one would expect. I've done a video about a German mine layer that deposited 10 mines in the Wellington Harbour during World War II, and the same in Littleton. None of those giant beasts have ever been located. Yet, apparently, the helmet was, or so the story goes. When I was researching helmets, I also found out another European nation that wore such morion-like helmets. That was the Dutch. One of Tasman's 2 vessels was an armed transport ship. Why couldn't it have come from his expedition? We know definitively he was in the area of where the helmet was allegedly found because his cartographer mapped it and the voyage was meticulously journalled. Conceivably, it could have been in the possession of East Coast Maori. You remember at the beginning of the video I mentioned I was in Te Papa earlier in the year, and on my list of the exhibits I was wanting to see was the helmet. Well, it's locked away. Why is that? Look, I appreciate there's issues of space here. Then there is this all-telling statement on Te Papa's website. This item is taboo, off limits to the public. I have stated already the chances of it coming from a previously unknown Spanish expedition are all but zero. All the voyages of discovery were commissioned by royalty or commercial interests. They didn't just wander down to Bilboa port and say,
"How much is it to rent that galleon for 18 months?"
Whilst the museum holds this attitude of refusing to research the helmet's origin, it simply feeds into the belief it is what you want it to be. Spanish, Portuguese, Dutch, Martian. Excuse me if I'm wrong here. Is there no modern scientific technique that could show us where the iron ore was used, where it was likely to have come from? Testing would almost certainly prove if the item had actually been at the bottom of the harbour. Te Papa don't appear to have the will to do such testing. Now imagine if I am right. A priceless artefact from Tasman's discovery is currently gathering dust because Te Papa is more interested in being politically correct rather than historically correct. Let's find out the truth, Te Papa. Please tell me what you think in the comments below. Feel free to share this on other platforms you think would appreciate it. I hope to see you next time. Bye for now.